Yo, what up? I'm just gonna quickly go through this trade today and why I took it and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's a win. 0.5 R, half an R, basically risked 200 and 2,000. I made 1,000. So, I was up here. I did actually take a little trade in here. I took this first of all, but I was kind of a bit rusty and I jumped in and jumped out and stuff like that. I was a bit. This is my first trade back after like 2 weeks off, so I jumped out and I was like, okay, cool. I should have probably stayed in because what I'd done is created the range from there. That was the protected low, and then this was the high, the target. So it was there, and then obviously came back. I have been kind of testing this like retracement idea of like 50%, but I think 50% is a rough guide, but I think most of the time you can see whether it's done, whether it's come back far enough or not. So yeah, I took that. Yeah, like I said, I jumped in and out, didn't really hold it. So that was kind of a break even. It did leave me with like 150 down or something, just because of the it was just a not a confident one. Anyway, followed all this down, had to stay patient after we dropped. We just dropped, and then oh man, this is long. And then yeah, all the way, dropped all the way, and then I figured we're probably going to come into this 4 hour gap, which we did, tapped into that there. And then didn't really have a plan after that. Also, this is another trade that I was just looking at, and I left it because it was just doing too much in the inside. Like it's just doing way too much, and this 1 minute was just fighting. It just hasn't been defeated yet. This 1 minute gap here, so I left it. But what I did take was this. So I went under the idea that this was a protected low. And then at the time there was a 5 minute high right here, and I figured like we had tapped into this 15 minute already. Like we're coming into this 15 minute gap, and yeah, I just figured that like we did just take a lot of liquidity, so we can expect a little push up for a bit. So I just figured that that's probably the target, and then as we kind of made this range, it was this high that was my like target of the range. So that was the draw on liquidity, and then this was the target for the trade, and then all I did was basically waited for this inversion. So we kind of came down. I was watching this gap here. I can't drop any lower sadly into the time frames, but I was watching the 30 minute as well, 30 seconds, sorry. And then yeah, we did invert it, not the strongest inversion, but we did invert it. And then when I was watching the 30 second, we just like I was watching the candles. They were just trying to go up and up and up. It was just like it was building orders, and I just figured like if that was the range low and this was the gap, we tapped into it perfectly, came up, inverted this perfectly, had a target, had a higher target. So yeah, I just entered. Stop loss was below this low here, and my target was this high, and I had got in at like here, I think. I always aim for what I call the pension entry, which is 0.65. So yeah, once it hit target, I just quickly moved my stop loss up and just suffocated it. And I think that's what I want to keep doing now. I'd rather jump in and out of trades and take half the profit instead of instead of going break even and then trying to hold for full TP, because then you end up sometimes, or like a lot of the majority of the time, you end up with nothing. So I think like overall it's better, and it's better for my psychology to just take. It's better for my psychology to just take the money when it's on the table. So I think the risk to rewards are going to differ, and I feel like I shouldn't really focus too much on the risk to rewards because this strategy is going to have a very high win rate the more I back test it, and I think that that's all it really needs to be. It just needs to be clear, take the trade. It's not. I mean, it's not so much AMD at the moment. I think it's more like just inversion fair value gaps and drawing liquidity. But it's nice to look at things in terms of AMD because it's like then you start waiting for the right liquidity grab before it comes up. Do you know what I mean? Because I was looking at this trade, like I was saying, I think the drawn liquidity is still higher, but this 1 minute gap here keeps just holding. But if it was going higher, there's a protected swing there from the last trade, and then this is the new protected swing. So, but yeah, like I was saying, it's nice to look at that in terms of AMD because all of these lows here are the accumulation, and then there's the manipulation, and then we're just waiting for that distribution. So I think it's not so much about trying to take the perfect looking pattern. It's just more just like we've just got to read market structure, go with the overall flow of the market, and just take what's given. So yeah, I'm happy with today. Yeah.